International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, is one of the Gambia's development partners that aims to increase agricultural productivity and access to markets for enhanced food security and nutrition and resilience of family farms and farmer organizations in line with the national government priorities. IFAD's projects in the Gambia tackles poverty that is connected to water and land as productive resources. Through diversification of rural income, it aims to alleviate poverty that is connected to faltering markets. Other priorities include training women in decision-making in all of its projects in the country, with the aim of increasing agricultural production, small livestock rearing, and access to financial service. IFAD also focuses on young men and women for off- and on-farm job prospects, bearing in mind the country's steep rates of unemployment. IFAD has successfully implemented projects in the Gambia that address the main constraints in the rice, livestock, and horticulture value chains, as well as rural finance. From the Rural Finance Project, RFP, the Livestock and Horticulture Development Project, LHD, the Lowlands Agricultural Development Program, LADEP, the Participatory Integrated Watershed Management Project, PWAMP, to the National Agricultural Land and Water Management Development, NEMA program. Before the intervention of the NEMA Chozo project, many rice farmers in the Gambia, predominantly women, lacked modern farming machinery and inputs. The NEMA Chozo project under the Ministry of Agriculture and funded by IFAD has changed the dynamics of the rural farming community by empowering farmers with the necessary farming implements and inputs for sustainable agricultural development. It boosted the production of rice and vegetables, as well as reducing post-harvest losses. The project assisted in the establishment of 6 farmer cooperative organizations in the most vulnerable regions across the country. These farmer cooperative organizations comprise mainly of women who embarked on income generation, capacity building, and support activities for farmers, and had in particular enabled rice farmers to have easier access to fertilizer, seeds, and critical farming implements. Their shift to using modern equipment and farm inputs such as tractors, rice transplanters, and combined harvesters has drastically reduced the physical burden on rice producers and cuts down the number of hours they spend on clearing, plowing, planting, harvesting, threshing, and bagging their crops. The success story of Fatu Jausekan is an inspiration to many young female farmers as a smallholder vegetable grower. While still at school, Fatu helped her mother on her vegetable farm, earning enough to see her through school. Few years after graduating, she obtained a plot at the NEMA-supported community vegetable garden in her village, where she began harvesting and selling her produce to middlemen, just like she learned from her mother when she was younger. A compost chamber and solar-powered irrigation system in the garden contributed to harvesting fresh and healthy vegetables. Fatu also acts as the women's information source on market prices and market processes by consulting other vendors and making use of the NEMA-supported market information system on market prices. She now advocates with young women in Dasilami to join the community garden or engage in other types of farming so that they can also be self-sustaining financially. Thick, lush mangroves line the banks of the River Gambia, making these parts one of the most vibrant ecosystems in the country in terms of wildlife and fish. You will find mostly women laboring through their dense roots and branches to collect fish, crabs, oysters, as well as firewood, either for consumption or to sell for income. But due to climate change, these mangroves are disappearing, and so too is the ecosystem that provides the livelihoods for those that depend on it. The NEMA Chozo project, in support from international donors, have over the years embarked on nationwide regeneration of mangroves in areas where they have disappeared, the result being felt by many Gambians today.
Since 1994, we've been advocating for restoration of these wetlands. It happens that there are good projects like NEMA project and other projects that are willing to put into investment to enable us to bring this mangrove back. When we bring the mangrove back, water birds are back, fish are back, everything is back. The reason why mangrove is important for the creek is if there is no mangrove, the water temperature is very hot. If the water temperature is hot, no life can live in it.
We're regenerating mangrove areas. Over the past couple of years, due to climate change, issues of saline intrusion, we've lost a lot of mangroves and a lot of marine ecosystems. So we're trying to revive the mangroves within the country. We will do over 500 hectares of mangrove regeneration.
The NEMA Chozo-supported Tidal Irrigation scheme is an exceptional example of engaging women in sustainable and profitable agriculture, since they are the main producers of rice in the Gambia. The effects of climate and environmental changes, such as erratic rainfall, floods, and shortage of surface water, often hamper the volume of their yields. The irrigation system, which relies exclusively on gravity and the tides of the River Gambia, provides year-round fresh water irrigation to surrounding farms, thus allowing for double cropping and reducing the hungry season considerably. NEMA encourages the equal representation of both men and women in the management and upkeep of the system. This has now provided women the opportunity to engage in decision-making processes concerning the system and effectively having control over their crops and yields. Poor rural women find themselves at the bottom of the income-earning group when it comes to self and national development. For smallholder female farmers like Ameba, one of the biggest obstacles in achieving agricultural productivity and profitability is limited access to working capital. NEMA Chozo's Capital Investment Stimulus Fund, or matching grant, is an agribusiness development initiative that provides medium-term financial services to groups and individuals running small businesses, especially women and youth farmers.
Nakala melon boba daga gumam NEMA muy liggéey coono ndax liggéey doole la man dama tëdd ci suma lal bi déggu affaire bi ma takaw ci ñoom ñu ne ma nan ngay mëna defee yow jigéen ba nga am trak.
Amiba, a recipient of the grant, bought a tractor which has since been serving her family and her community as a whole.
Ba tey ci yokkute la ndax ki doon bay benn tool ya mun nga bay lu mal juróom benn tool wala fukki tool yokku nañu ci noflaay liggéey coono yokkute be ci benn yokku nañu ci dund.
The resilience of organizations for transformative smallholder agricultural projects, ROOTS, is the biggest ever agricultural project in the country and would be implemented for a period of 6 years in all 5 administrative regions, with the aim to improve food security in the country. ROOTS will consolidate the gains of past IFAD projects and build on other donor-sponsored investments. It will focus on the achievements of the NEMA project in upscaling rice and vegetable value chains and contributing to the improvement of household food and nutrition security and farm incomes while transitioning smallholder farmers, particularly youth and women, from subsistence to commercial entrepreneurs. In launching the Roots project, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, Adama Barrow, underscored the significant inputs Roots will make in the country in line with its national development plan.
We appreciate the importance and potential of sustainable agricultural value chain development in fostering growth within the agriculture sector. Consequently, we will continue to prioritize and invest in agricultural land and infrastructure development, agricultural machinery, post-harvest and processing equipment, storage facilities, and related value addition and market access initiative across the country.
IFAD Country Director Hawa Sienta reiterated the vulnerability affecting the Gambia, especially the degradation of its natural resources.
Over the next coming year, it's projected change of cereal yield, population growth, food import dependency, child malnutrition, and more of climate change and climate vulnerability if inadequate measures are not taken. These challenges are amplified by weak institutions and private service operators, high youth unemployment at 45%, out-migration, urbanization, low agricultural productivity, undiversified economy, limited access to resources, and low investment in the agricultural sector.
The Minister of Agriculture, Ami Fabure, highlighted the inclusivity of the beneficiaries and commended IFAD for its support to the government of the Gambia.
The overarching goals of the ROOT project is to improve food security, nutrition, smallholder farmers resilient to climate change in the Gambia. The project development objectives is to increase agricultural productivity and access to markets for enhanced food security and the nutrition and resilience of the family farm and farmer organizations.
Regional luncheon ceremonies were also carried out, reassuring the rural communities of the huge benefits the project will offer in alleviating poverty and increase livelihood. Roots is centered on three components. Component 1, agricultural productivity and adaptation to climate change. This component aims to improve smallholder farmers' productivity through the adoption of sustainable and climate-resilient and nutrition-sensitive technologies and practices. This would be done through 1. Infrastructure development and management for rice and horticulture. 2. Agricultural service provision. Component 2. Access to markets. This component aims to assist farmer organizations supported at the level of production in Component 1 to enter inclusive commercial partnerships with other value chain actors, the 4Ps approach, and to promote value addition processing. The objectives will be pursued under two interlinked subcomponents: 1. 4P establishment and 2. 4P financing. Component 3. Project management, institutional development, and citizen engagement. This project will support policy dialogue and South-South and triangular cooperation activities. It will act as a facilitator and finance 3 policy dialogue roundtables and forums involving farmer organizations, private sector representatives, and public sector. The goal of the project is to improve food security, nutrition, and smallholder farmers' resilience to climate change in the Gambia. As part of its implementation, Roots carried out a special COVID-19 relief package under the Rural Poor Stimulus Facility, sponsored by IFAD. The relief package was geared to support the Gambia's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Rural Poor Stimulus Facility. It was thanks to the efforts of the government of the Gambia, the Ministry of Agriculture in particular, who saw a gap in the relief support that is being provided to this country. They saw that nothing was targeted specifically for farmers. So they approached IFAD to see what can be done for the farmers. And IFAD responded with this Rural Poor Stimulus Facility, specifically for farmers.
As the project continues to roll out its implementation, the Gambia government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, continues to solicit the support and continued partnership with IFAD and other donor partners in its quest to significantly increase food security, employment creation, and poverty reduction.